Hey everyone, I want to show you a couple of things for your persona project assignment that's going to happen this week. So this week we are doing a play and social skills assessment. So you're going to need to pull some information from a few different places. So you're going to use the Padlet site, and I want to make sure you all see the search feature it has, because there's going to be information for your child in a couple of places. So you'll find information in one of these sections based on their age, and then the social developmental information and the play and social skills observation. So the easiest thing to do is search by the child's name. So Piper, for some of you who picked her, and then you can get all of the information about Piper. So this will help you with this assignment and all of the assignments for the persona project. And then for this particular assignment, you also have access to stages of play, which is linked in the assignment and then also just here in this folder. So you want to look through this to get a better idea of the stage of play your child may be accessing. And it may depend on their age, but it can also depend on their development. So you might need to look at a few of them to decide. And then the other piece you have is social skill developmental milestones. And again, you'd want to start with your child's age, but if because of their disability they may not be at age level, you can go down to lower ages as well. But that will give you an idea of the social skills you're looking for. So then when you go to create your assessments, you will answer these questions based on all of these pieces of information. So I have a sample here. So I've added some slides to my portfolio, and this is an example of a way to break it out. You can do this in whichever way works best for you, makes the most sense for you. I just want to provide an example because some people benefit from having the visuals. So for play skills assessment, I'm looking at types of play. So I would describe how the child plays, looking at the Padlet information, what I either read directly, or you might need to infer some things. So it may not say exactly what type of play, but it may give you other clues that you can use to decide the type of play. And you can also look at the developmental milestones. And then I would say this child is engaging in the type of play based on that stages of play list we looked at. So exploratory or sensory motor play. And then I would go on to describe, what that looks like for that child. And then the next piece is their interest in and manipulation of toys and materials. So are they interested in using toys and materials? Can they physically manipulate them? Can they move their body to get to things? Again, this is stuff you're going to pull from Padlet. Either it's going to say it specifically, or you're going to infer it based on other information that's shared. And you can also use developmental milestones for this. And then the use of toys and materials. So how they use toys and materials. Is it functional? Are they using things as they're intended? So like putting a shape sorter together. Symbolically, they pick up a block and say hello as if it's a phone. Or imaginative pretend play, like making soup in a mud kitchen. So again, using all those sources of information, deciding what type of use of toys and materials they have. And then the next piece of it is the social skills assessment. So how are they interacting with others? And it could be other children, it could be siblings, it could be different adults in their life. So how do they respond to social cues? How do they share and take turns? Do they talk about play when they're engaging in play? Are they initiating with someone else? So do they ask others to play with them? Or are they directing other peers in how they play? So that's a much older skill. But as kids get older, they start to assign roles to their friends and tell them what they want them to do in different play scenarios. And then for communicating with others, describing how they communicate with adults and children, again, pulled from the sources. And looking at verbal communication. So that could be sounds, it could be words, it could be full sentences, gestures, things like pointing and signing, and then assistive devices. So an example of that is an iPad with an app where they press a button that's a picture and it says the word for them. And then the final piece of the social skills assessment is managing upset. So how does the child respond if they get upset or they're frustrated or they have a conflict with another person? And again, that's stuff you can pull from the Padlet information and also looking at developmental milestones. All right, so I think that is it for this, but hopefully that helps a little bit when you start to work on your play and social skills assessment piece. Let me know if you have questions.